Welcome to the shortened version of the Katberg or Katberg Pass. In this video I've taken the liberty of cutting or cropping the more mundane sections out of the video and focusing more on the technical juicy bits which I imagine would be of more interest to somebody viewing this video or contemplating completing the pass in the near future. It's difficult to give the pass a difficulty rating. That's pretty subjective based on the rider's experience and skill. Would I ever say it is a difficult pass for the average rider? Possibly a very difficult pass. The midsection is wet and muddy. Not terribly difficult, but it can be challenging if you get your line wrong. And then when you get to the switchbacks, things do get real and you need to pick your line quite well. There are ledges, there's a lot of loose rock, there's eroded ditches. So getting your line wrong can get you into a lot of trouble. And in my case, I did the pass solo, which meant that I had to really be cautious about where I went, how I went, because there was nobody to help me get out of it. And I was on the big beast behind me, the 1250 GSA. And that's not an easy bike to turn around. And if it does get itself into a ditch, it's probably not something I'm going to get out by myself. So that did make me second guess a lot of things and also made me a little bit more cautious. So what I ended up doing was actually walking the switchbacks and picking my line, going back to the bike, then committing and going through them in one foul swoop, which worked well for me, and there were no near misses. I never at any stage came close to putting the bike down. Actually, once I committed to those switchbacks, I never put a foot down. So you can do it, especially with a big bike like this. You just got to be cautious. Too little momentum is dangerous. Too much momentum can be damaging to the front wheel. So it's a very fine line that you have to sort of tread. Nonetheless, a very nice pass. I think it will hold up well over time. The switchbacks were quite dry, but there were signs of erosion from prior rains. And I imagine with 4x4s traversing the pass, you can expect on the switchbacks with their differentials and the like that they will dig holes and rip the pass up. And also less skilled drivers may dig up areas that shouldn't be dug up. They also do tend to place little nasty boulders and little rocks in places that are not ideally suited to motorbikes. So that does make it pretty exciting as you go up. You can be bounced off your line quite frequently. But as a whole, a very doable pass and a very enjoyable pass. You climb from way down in the bottom to way up into the clouds with amazing views. And then obviously you've got options on where you want to go thereafter. For me, I chose Devil's Bellows, which I wouldn't recommend. Nonetheless, here's the video. I'll try and provide limited commentary during the video, but I hope this will be informative and useful to anybody looking to do Katberg in the near future. Encountered quite a bit of water in the midsection of the pass. It seems like there's sort of constant flow coming down the mountain, almost out of the rock. I don't know how much was influenced by the amount of rain they had in the recent past, but it seems like this section will probably stay wet for quite a while and may be wet on all occasions. I'm not entirely sure. But you'll notice here the bike squirms quite a bit. If there isn't enough rock and grip, it becomes quite muddy and quite slippery. But this is just through the midsection, especially in the forest sections. It then later on dries up quite nicely. Now, I did mention the camera doesn't do it justice. This was quite a steep climb, and possibly some of the last sections that were still quite muddy. It meant that I had to really pick my line with quite a few little eroded ditches, trying to not slip into them and trying to not lose traction on the back wheel. As I say, the camera just doesn't quite do it justice. That was sort of threading the needle to just stay on that very, very fine line of traction. And this view is just from the rear of the bike. Again, it still flattens it out, but you can see there's quite a bit of movement and moisture coming up. This is where the switchbacks are about to start, and it sort of came as a surprise. Came around this corner and found the first switchback. Again, camera not doing it terribly much justice, but this was quite rocky and gnarly with an eroded ditch that sort of just got in the way at the wrong time. You can see I sort of wanted to go right there, but had to then readjust my line. Thought of going right again, found another eroded ditch, and then just coming towards the top, took the better part of valor to rather stop, reassess, and then go again. I never lied, as I said. I went off to assess and demonstrate just how slippery the terrain really was, taking a squiz around the next switchback and ultimately planning where I would put the bike and then take a stroll and review the entire pass. With a little bit of delicate clutch control, I was able to pull through here and then finally get enough speed to get onto the pegs and get out. I don't know if that's all my skill or perhaps that the pass has got decent traction and the Karoo 4 was possibly enjoying the kind of terrain. Nonetheless, I took the opportunity to park in that little piece of grass and then went off on my long hike to go and assess the remaining portion of the pass, or at least the switchbacks, before coming back and committing and going. I won't lie, I came down the pass back to the bike with every intention of turning it around and going back down and playing it safe. By the time I got to the bike, I just felt that I could do this. And I really was just second guessing it because I was there by myself and that increased the risk should I make a mistake. Nonetheless, I got on the bike, popped the clutch, got on the pegs as soon as possible and committed to the line I planned. This vantage point gives you an indication of just how much movement the bike was experiencing with the suspension just recoiling and coming up. As I say, the camera stabilizes things, makes the terrain look a lot flatter than what it is, and makes it look a lot smoother than what it actually is. But that vantage point where you can actually view the screen coming up and down just gives you an indication of the kind of knocks that the terrain was issuing. I didn't really take time to study the rest of the pass. I saw on the Garmin that this was pretty much straight up, so I assumed no more switchbacks. But in reality, this was also quite a gnarly section. By no means does the camera do it justice. It was far steeper, far bigger ledges, and having not walked the route and not having sighted the terrain, it was a little bit more complicated, and again, a little bit of experience in judging which line to go down and possibly a bit of luck. This is coming to the end of the pass, and you can sort of get an idea of just how high up you've actually climbed by the time you get to the top. Nonetheless, this was sort of the decision-making point. Do I go left? Well, I tried to go left. Actually, there was a tree that blocked the path. So I landed up eventually going for Devil's Bellows, thinking it would be the quicker route out, but I was sorely mistaken. That pass doesn't exist anymore. So it became a long, long day.